Welcome back, everybody, to Rob's MetalWorks. We are here once again at the Rob's MetalWorks Studio to bring you the best in regional metal music. It brings me great pleasure to bring back a band that I've had a long-standing relationship with, and a band really that is on the cutting edge of modern metal here in our city, and I fucking love it. Let me welcome and introduce many of you to the band called Mourning Sun. Welcome, guys, to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Happy to be here. Fucking ecstatic to be here.
Man, you know, I said long-standing relationship, and, you know, I've known, and I remember I first worked with the band Mourning Sun back in 2018, right, Emmanuel, around that time?
Yeah, around 2018, 2017.
2018, in support of the debut therapy sessions, right?
Yeah, so...
Yeah. I was a big fan of that record, and I still am. I still jam that record, believe it or not.
You still have it?
Of course, and I still jam it, you know. Great record. And, you know, one of the things that I really wanted to bring the band back on Rob's, because really now it is not only a reformation of Mourning Sun, but a reinvention of Mourning Sun, right?
Most definitely. It's a rebirth. It's a rebirth. It's a rebirth.
It's our second skin.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
Our second skin.
We were just talking off camera, and I remember back, and Jericho reminded me, in 2020, we had the Rob's barbecue here at the house, and you guys showed up, and I remember, you know, I was feeling pretty fucking good that day, you know, all the drinkies and stuff, and I remember you two guys said, "Rob, can we talk to you for a minute?" And I was like, "Yeah." We went to my backyard, I think, right?
Yeah.
And I remember you were telling me, "Rob, we're gonna start a new band, and do we keep the Mourning Sun name and progress as Mourning Sun, or do we start something new?" And honestly, I can't remember what I told you. Do you guys remember what I said?
I remember that. I remember you telling us or advising us. You were like, "I think you should stick with the Mourning Sun name because we had already built ourselves upon it. We've established it. It's something that we have to work off of." I think you had said, if we really wanted to start something new, then that is the route we could take. But you believe that we should keep forward with Mourning Sun.
I'm so glad I said that, because honestly, I didn't remember. I was thinking, so what did I tell these guys, you know, recommend to them? But, you know, thinking upon that, now as I sit here, I mean, yeah, it's very true, because you guys already built a brand around Mourning Sun. You had a logo. You had your fans. I mean, a great record, because if you would have changed the name and moved away from that, then therapy sessions would have been non-existent, kind of, per se.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, yeah, that's great. What happened after that? What were the next steps after that? Because I didn't really kind of keep up with what was happening, because it took a little while, obviously, to reform and reinvent. So what did you guys do after that?
So I think actually for a bit we tried to go under a new name. We just wanted to see if it would work.
Mm-hmm.
We tried going under the name Covert Heart, and that's actually where Kobe came in. And Kobe was actually going to step in as vocals, and I was going to stick to bass. And we started writing a track. It just wasn't vibing. We ended up just falling back into doing Mourning Sun, and
I was such a drama queen too, because I stepped. We had formed this new band, and I wasn't happy with the direction, so I stepped away, and it fell apart. But then we brought it back together as Mourning Sun.
Yeah.
And you know, that's cool too. I'm glad you kind of mentioned that, because we were talking downstairs, and you're like, you know, "Rob, at first I was the bass player, and now I'm the singer." And you guys are so like multifaceted musicians. You guys can do a lot of different things. And I remember even like Emmanuel was like, "I'm not the guitar player anymore." I'm like, "What?" Because I always remembered Emmanuel as a guitar player for Mourning Sun. He goes, "No, I play bass now, and we got new guitar players, and they're kind of taking the charge with the writing." And I thought that was kind of that kind of took me for a whirlwind too, because I remember Emmanuel was at the heart of what was happening with Mourning Sun. So, you know, all these changes in the dynamics, and then ultimately coming to where you guys are now. So once you guys decided to move forward with Mourning Sun, Colby was the man, the guitar player for the band.
So okay, so I think there's a little clarification you made with that. So honestly, Mourning Sun wouldn't have reformed the way it did if it wasn't for us going and doing no cover in California. So I don't know if you saw it, but
I remember that.
So yeah, we had submitted before, I think right after the band broke up and, you know, our last vocalist left. And I was like, hey, let's just submit. We can get a review at least. I don't know if they're going to take us. They got back to us like almost a year later and emailed us, was like, if y'all can be out here next week, can you, for filming? And we were like, fuck yes. I was already wanting to get Kobe in with us. So I was like, I asked originally our original guitarist, Jason, to come back. Manny was still playing bass at the time. Jason said no. I asked Kobe to come play bass, and we found another guitarist, Tyler, who stuck with us for a little bit through tracking Dead Weight and Contrition when those singles dropped. But yeah, we got to go out to California, and it kind of just re-solidified us and gave us this new found inspiration and fire to go back on, because yeah, we didn't win, but we got to meet artists like Toast Bossy, Gavin
Did some
Rossdale,
networking.
Alice Cooper, Lizzie Hale, and Bishop Briggs. And I know Bishop Briggs loved us. She voted for us. Gavin Rossdale didn't, but kind of did. He was like, oh, I believe in Mourning Sun. He learned his little note thing, and we took that, like, you know, as newfound inspiration.
Bush.
Yep.
John. Wow. Gavin from Bush. Remember just jamming a Bush.
Yeah. But even after we came back, so we came back and we were starting to work on the next our EP, which was Second Skin, and there was kind of a shift around. Tyler ended up moving to Colorado, and then Josh hit us up to come join the band. And so he came in as a guitarist. Manny decided to shift to bass. And then Kobe came in as lead guitar and started just fucking going nuts with everything.
I think that's really cool because, you know, first of all, let me say, I love Josh's vibe on stage, man. He brings this young, vibrant persona to the stage presence, and that's so important. And, you know, even though I know, you know, you're the young cat in the band, but still, you know, the presence on stage is kind of undeniable. But you also have to have, like, you know, the musicianship, the songwriting, and the performance. And, you know, I'll talk about this later, but I remember, you know, I saw you guys at the CD release show, and I was really impressed. I was like, man, you know, this is a whole new band, whole new vibe, yet still continuing the legacy of what is Mourning Sun. Now, it was pretty evident to me quickly when Emmanuel started sending me the tracks for the new music. And it was before it was called Second Skin. And Emmanuel, I love Emmanuel because he and I have always had a great relationship. And he's like, Rob, check out these roughs. He's sending me roughs. And the thing is, I love that because, you know, it keeps me informed about what's happening with the band. And, you know, as long as I'm informed about what's happening with any group, then I'm able to talk about you. And, you know, again, Emmanuel and I go way back. So he was like, it was important for him to kind of share that music with me, and I appreciate that. But I realized right away, I'm like, oh, wow, this is like totally something new and different. So anybody comment on the musical evolution? Because when I hear therapy sessions and then I hear Second Skin, it's like leaps and bounds, totally different. So what was the new kind of vision musically for the band?
So I think I'm gonna let Kobe take the reins on this, but I just want to say a lot of it was so when we were doing No Cover, we got to talk to Ash of Sumerian Records, the CEO. We got to talk to Dave Rath of Roadrunner Records, and I feel so bad I can't remember his name right now, but he used to manage Ozzy, or I think he still does. And they told us, they're like, look, we love your style of music, but you're not doing anything new. You're getting lost in a sea of your genre. So like, y'all really need to reinvent yourself. So with that coming in, we had this really post-hardcore element that was really the foundation of Mourning Sun. But I think we kind of came to the understanding that we needed to shift away not entirely from doing post-hardcore stuff, but we needed to start to introduce new elements. And come enter in Kobe with his very progressive metal and more gent elements, he just went at it, and I'll let him continue further on it.
Yeah, Kobe, talk about that.
So with this record, personally, when I came together with these guys, it was a lot of, I like this part, I like this, let's take this out, change it around. And just having them able to kind of reel me in and make it not so riff salady, but more intimate and special is really how I wrote this with them. This is the second record, or the third record I've actually produced. I have 2 of my own solo records that I produced during COVID. It's instrumental metal. And that's a lot of where I got a lot of ideas and elements for this personally. But having the familiarity of therapy sessions pop out in this record is what really pushes it forward, but with the new modern element. And this modern element comes from just me, like, I'm hearing what everyone else is doing, but I take parts I like and I want to make them our own. I want to make them special. Fun to play, but fun to listen to.
Yeah.
And their main comment's always like, man, you write stuff that's really fun to play. And that's prior experience. Like,
That's great.
yeah.
That's great. So when you talk, I said when I was talking about you guys right now, I said kind of like this modern sounding metal. It's to me too, like, I'm not a musician, but it sounds complex and it's brutal and melodic at the same time. And then there was like, it's like a step beyond just guitars, drums, and bass. So like all of that little sonic landscape in there that you kind of add in there, it adds so much dimension to the music and to the listening experience that, it's kind of hard not to just kind of be drawn into it and enjoy it, because not a lot of bands are able to do that. You always have to have some dude in the band that is good with doing that, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, how did you kind of get into that, or how did that kind of formulate for you? Because I mean, there is a certain skill set that comes along with that.
I have been producing music myself for over 10 years. It started in high school. I started producing like electronic music, just beats, like stuff like that. But as it progressed more and more, I found myself like, oh, maybe I should pick up guitar again, because I'm a drummer. I've been a drummer all my life.
Really?
Yeah, I was.
Wow.
If I wasn't a guitarist, I'd be the drummer.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been drumming forever.
Really incredible drummer. He's one of like the best I've ever seen. I've known him since middle school. I'm not bullshitting with that either.
You guys are crazy musicians, man. That's so multi-talented. It astounds me.
But creating, basically, this experience comes from, I was also in band a lot in high school. That's something I took really seriously. Absolutely. Like, I was
doing drums?
Yeah, I was in drumline in all high school. And I took it kind of more competitively seriously. But the thing that comes to me the most is like, and what they said, it's like, we want to create an experience, tell something cohesive. I was like, I want to create a performance.
Sure.
Not just playing the tracks, but
sure,
performing the music to the audience.
And it's so much easier to do that if you have a song that's fun to play.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, if everybody's having a good time, the music's going to sound great.
I'm going to talk about it later, but when I saw you guys play at the release party, that's what it looked like. Like, you guys were just having a grand old time.
Had a blast.
And I'm going to talk to you about that fucking man that you had in the plastic bag. I don't know what the fuck was going on there, but I got it on tape. I don't think I released that in the video. I don't think I released that video.
It's okay. We dropped our own video that had me carrying the motherfucker around. Do you want me to talk about that?
Like wait.
Okay.
When I'm gonna rip the guts out or something, I don't know. Yeah. So, I guess after a while, you guys like, okay, this is our new sound. We can pull it off. There was a single that you guys released, right? The Night Terrorizer. Tell us a little bit about that one.
So, actually, I guess that's a little more personal to kind of like our relationship, but honestly, with Manny. So, I know Manny had gone through some trials and tribulations, some health issues over the last few years, and we were trying to write a new heavy song. We wanted to write our next single, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I asked him, I was like, hey, I kind of really want to write about your experience with that, and kind of just, put it all out on this. Like, would that be all right with you? And he said it was all right. And so me and him had some conversations about it. I took some material from it, and I kind of just
lyric wise,
and it birthed its way into that. I'm guessing you want to talk about that.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be about you. So.
Yeah, so when him and I spoke about night terrors, I've many people don't know this, but I went through a psychosis break.
No, I didn't know that. I think I did know that because I think you were gone from social media for a while, right?
Yes,
I don't know if I can't remember if you said something about it or you were just gone. I think you were just gone.
I was just gone. And,
yeah.
And it's happened to me about 3 times now, and that's why I stopped smoking weed. It was induced by the weed, and
really,
yeah,
it wasn't like the fucking
Lace.
not the what do they call it, Rick? The fake weed or the
synthetic weed.
The synthetic weed. It wasn't that, right?
No, what from my I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, the synthetic weed fucks you up, right, Rick? Yeah. It's not good.
Yeah, and at that time I was a bad pot smoker. I'd smoke every day, smoke weed every day.
Mm-hmm.
For every second of the day, I would just be high, and that led me to have my psychosis break. And I went through so many weird religious delusions, and after the fact, after I was medicated, I'm medicated now. I have an injection every month for my psychosis, and after that was settled, I told Jericho all these crazy stories about my delusions,
Really,
and my hallucinations.
Wow.
Me seeing aliens, me talking to God, me talking through God, or talking if God was talking to me and I was speaking for God. Being having a delusion of being.
Were these dreams or like?
No, these were
Just things you would think about during the day?
Think about and act upon during the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
It's very scary.
And your wife was concerned?
Yes. No. I think Jericho could speak for this. She.
Yeah, it was. I remember getting, like, it was late night calls. You know, he would call and talk to me during the day, and during the night it would be sporadic. I would hear him, and I could tell when he was in his delusions. There would be times where he could not be tamed, and his wife would call me, and she was like, I don't know what to do. He would kind of be a little bit out of control, and it was just kind of with like outside of himself, as he put it to me. Sure. It was like watching himself through glass, and he couldn't do anything, and it was so heartbreaking. I remember talking to my fiance about it, and just I told him back tears. It just broke my heart to see him like that, and it was so scary because I never knew if he would get back to where he was, and I'm so ecstatic and happy that he is where he is now.
Well, thank God that he has a friend like you to call and talk about those things. What if he didn't have anybody to do that with? I mean, that would have made it worse.
I would not want to think about that.
Yeah.
I'm just glad he is where he is now, and I'm glad I could be there for him, and I'm glad that he is where he is now.
You know, that reminds me real quick, and I won't go off on a tangent on this, but there's people who suffer from things like that, and for many years they don't know what's wrong, so they medicate, so they get drunk or they get high. Mm-hmm. Right, and it makes me think of Scott Stapp from Creed, who for many years suffered of alcoholism and drug abuse. And I know Scott, and I've met him and interviewed him like 3 or 4 times already, and I'm good friends with his wife. And finally, after many years, he finally got diagnosed as bipolar. He never knew he was bipolar, so now he takes his meds, and he's fine. He hasn't relapsed. He's not drinking. He's fine.
The day and age we live in now, to have people who suffer and go through these things and be able to be medicated for it, and be able to receive help to retain and get back to the life that they so deserve and want.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that, Emmanuel. I didn't know that, and it takes a lot of courage to share that with our audience, because I think it's important too, because you don't know, there could be somebody watching this interview who might be going through the same fucking thing.
Yeah. And I hope anyone who does can get help.
Your testimony helps them. So thank you so much. So he told you what was going on, and then you got the lyrics for Night Terrors.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you listen and read the lyrics, because I ran them by him before. Like,
I'm afraid to read the lyrics.
Even know them, because like, what is it? I think the first lyrics in there are "This isn't me, bloodstained hands only I can see, distorted reflections surrounding me, and obviously that was just like that kind of sums it up all in itself for
Right.
even him telling me just like physically how he felt in going through it. It was rough. I was so like worried about writing about something like this, especially with something that he went through personally. It wasn't my personal experience, so I just wanted to make sure that he was okay with anything I was saying, anything I was using, nothing that would make him uncomfortable or like give any details that he just does not want to like, you know, share or anything like that.
A couple of things before we leave Night Terrors. First of all, you guys had a guest vocalist,
Yes.
John Slavkowski, and I know John Slavkowski. What a dominant character in the Texas scene. Very driven man who leads Snake Father. I know, Jericho, you played in Snake Father for a little bit, and I think at that time you were kind of still playing with them. And
Yeah.
how did John kind of get involved with this track?
So at the time, I think I was like half a year in with the band, and I was like, hey, you know, we're writing this track, and I feel like we had this gap in there, and we wanted a feature on it, and I was like, I feel like you would be the perfect thing. I was like, you could bring that heavy gnarliness to this track that I feel like it really needs to like let out at this part.
Yeah.
And he was like, I showed him the track, and he was like, I fuck with it. Sure, like, yeah, let's go for it. We got him over for a couple recording sessions. Initially, he recorded with lyrics I had wrote, and then
Yeah.
he went back and wrote his own lyrics.
Of
which
course.
I implored him to do because
That
I really
doesn't
wanted
surprise me.
it. I really wanted it to be his own.
Right.
So
right.
like he came back and did it, and we recorded over at Kobe's house,
Yeah.
and we got it done all in one day, and it was awesome.
That's cool though. I mean, you know, if he's gonna take the time and effort to write his own lyrics on your track, I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you know that means you know he really cares about the track.
My personal statement with that also is like he's such a powerful vocalist, and I really didn't have to do much for his vocals to just really come out on
Right.
that track. And he's great. Like he could do something. He's like, you know what? I think this works. I think this works. I'm like, man, it sounded good the whole time. You can do whatever you want.
Do it, dude.
And just go hard. And
it.
I feel like in that I captured his energy
Yeah.
in that, not just the vocal parts, but it's just
The vibe.
yes,
The fucking
it really
vibe.
helps a lot.
He has a lot of vibe, that dude. You know.
Yeah.
He's kind of scary, man. I wouldn't want to meet John in a dark alley.
He's one of the, I will give him this. He's one of the most ambitious like deathcore vocalists, or like I know he
Just
doesn't
musician.
like musicians. I know he doesn't like that term for his band, but he's just so ambitious, and I really respect that out of him.
He's a beast, and I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I interviewed John years back.
I remember because I was there. You were talking about it when he was in the Marker Effect.
The Marker Effect, and I think at that time they were from Corpus.
Yep, he was still living in Corpus. That was before.
and they were here
Yep.
in this studio. So I go way back with that dude, and I'm so happy that Snake Father is finally, you know, really getting a lot of respect for what they do, and of course John's leading that charge. I want to ask too, you know, and I talked about Josh a little while ago. Josh, were you on the Night Terrors single? Was that before your time?
No, it was about when I had joined, and it was already starting on a bit, and it was a more brainstorming period.
Yeah.
And then slowly I kind of put in my input here and there, but I wouldn't say I was as strong or as strongly on that track as it was on the EP.
Well, you're the new dude, man. Come on, you know, you just gotta pitch in when you can, right? As the new guy, but you were already part of the band at that time.
Yes.
Now, how did you get involved with this band?
So sometime around January of 2021, I kind of was it 21 or 22?
21. It was 21.
That's right. No, I feel like it was 22.
Oh wait, no, you might be right. I think.
I think it was 22.
21. I'm gonna say 21. Just
21 or 22. I don't know how to count, but anyways, I had already been maybe about a year out of the scene. I was with a band called Finding September before, and we kind of fell off because of COVID and did our own thing, and I wasn't really in the scene anymore. I felt just super out of it. I was like, I don't feel like myself. I need to get back into a band and write, perform. And around that time, I think Jericho had mentioned that they were needing a guitarist. So it was kind of just
So you knew Jericho?
Kind of. I sort of knew everyone. I knew Emmanuel the most, but I kind of had met them very briefly individually, like years and years ago. I can't really say I knew them all too well, but I had Jericho added on Facebook at least, and I saw he posted about it, and I was at that point I just said, "Hey, what are you guys trying to do?" We talked back and forth, and I went to the first show, which was the Vakken show. Which one was that? The first one, right? Because
The Battle for the Bands?
Yeah, the Battle for the Band's one that you judged. I remember.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He had gone to it, but Tyler was still playing with us at that time.
Right, I remember now.
We already were bringing Josh into it because Tyler had already let us know about like he was moving to Colorado.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of the last shows we played with him.
I remember now.
Josh came up and he was like and he was like, "Fuck yeah!" He was like, "That was cool." Or I'll let you say it.
That was the first time that I had seen the new Mourning Sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really cool seeing them, and obviously I'd played with Mourning Sun back in the day. Otherwise, I wouldn't really have known Manny that well. But I'd played with Mourning Sun back in the day, maybe about 5-10 times. I've got old flyers I've found with my old band and Mourning Sun with the old logo and the old band. But I always remembered hearing the Therapy Sessions EP and just thinking this is a really well-made album. I loved all the songs, like Son of No Man, Ships, Where It Hurts the Most. I remember just hearing them, and even after...
Ship Set to Sail.
Yes.
Fucking, I love that song.
It's a good one. But even during the time period when they were not a thing, I was still hearing it come up on my Spotify. I was like, wow, like... I would always forget that they were a local band. I would just be like, who the fuck am I listening to?
Yeah.
So it's really nice to be able to work with the guys and just to be a part of things now.
Nice.
After having known it for so long.
I think you're a perfect fit. Again, when I see bands live, when I go see a band live, there's a couple of things I look at. I look at the performance, and through the performance, I mean, like, is there like a balance? Is there chemistry? Is there a vibe? Is there energy between these dudes? And if there is, then it's great. You're pulling it off. It's wonderful. And then, sometimes I see some bands and I'm like, oh my God. Like, it's totally discombobulated. It's not, there's no cohesiveness. And it's very evident to me. But when I saw you guys play that night, I thought, man, yeah. And I knew you were new. And I was like, man, yeah, these dudes are having a good time up there. They're banging out these songs. It sounds great.
I definitely appreciate hearing that, especially because personally, one of the things I look for with my writing and my performing is the energy. How can I translate the energy that I'm feeling to the audience, and how can I have them reciprocate it back to me?
Sure.
And just create this big cycle of energy that grows and grows. Because, you can't just have the song, kind of like what Kobe was saying. You got to have the performance for it as well.
Sure.
And that's
for
definitely something that I've been really, really grateful to work with, that we all have the idea of we want to have a good performance. We want to have songs that are fun. And it's been such an easy transition from my old band to here.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this many times and throughout the history of my program is that great bands... Sometimes there's bands who can pull it off live, and they're great live, but their recordings are horrible. And then there's bands who their recordings are great, and then live they're horrible, right? Yeah. And then sometimes there's bands who can do both. Those are the great bands. Those are the bands that are on Rob's, like the bands that can pull it off on all fronts, and will only continue to improve and get better. This single has came out in August of 22 and has done very well. Like, did I read correctly? 100,000 streams.
121,700. Sorry, I looked at it earlier today, and
he's like, "Let me get my numbers straight for this interview."
Well, we were having
120,000 views streams.
I was having to send our manager our Spotify numbers and stuff, so he was asking for exact numbers.
Wow.
So I was like, okay. I was like, here you go.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's our biggest one so far.
Streams, bro. That's great. How soon after Night Terrors, or how far along were you with Second Skin? Now, for all you people out there who don't yet know, the sophomore from Mourning Sun called Second Skin came out in February of this year. Be sure to take a look at the cover work. It is out right now on all your music media outlets. Be sure to download it right after you watch this interview and fucking jam it, man, because
Please.
I love this record. I love this record. And that's really why we're here to talk about Second Skin. So, first of all, like I just said, how far along were you with Second Skin at the time of August 22nd when Night Terrors came out?
So I'll disclose this. We had 3 different like variations of Second Skin even before we named it.
God.
We cycled through a bunch of different demos. That
Yeah,
we
I
have.
know. Emmanuel sent me all the roughs. I had like fucking 5 different roughs of the same song.
Yeah, we actually had one song.
But I love it, Emmanuel. Don't stop.
We had one track that came up with like 3 different versions that we didn't even end up using on the CP. But I don't think it was fully conceptualized until like the very beginning of this year and or the end of last year, where we're like, okay, yeah, these songs are about finished. Yeah, we finished it around like the beginning and the end of last year. And we were like, okay, well, what do we want to call it? I don't know. And I was like, how about we call it Second Skin? I was like, I feel like we're coming to, it's our second EP.
That was going to be my
coming-
next question. What is the relevancy of the title?
So it's kind of us coming into exactly that, a Second Skin. It's like we're, especially with us cultivating this new sound, it's like we're coming into exactly
sure.
that, a second skin. Like we're showing something new and we're molting, evolving, whatever
For sure.
term you want to put to that.
Maturing.
Yeah.
Maturing too. I mean, what were Emmanuel and I talking about downstairs? Like when I first started following him and talking with him, he was 18 years old. Yeah. Now you're, grown ass man, married, kiddos on the way, and I always have believed that I see talent in young people, and and they're like, oh, we want to be on Rob's. I'm like, dude, you're great, but you're not ready yet. And then when you start getting into that early 30s, late 20s kind of stage, and that's when you're like really prime and you're writing the best. You're getting better at your instrument. You have more confidence in what you're doing. And you're just going for it, and that's really when you're doing the best shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I wasn't, I don't know if you guys think I'm kidding or not, but I jam this record a lot. I really do. I wake up in the morning and I'm taking a shower and I have it on and I'm jamming it. I mean, this record, I'm a big fan of it, and that's why, even after Emmanuel had sent me the roughs, I was like, okay, these are the roughs. But when I got the real record, I was like, oh, this is great. I want to get these dudes on the show and talk about this record because I'm a fan. I'm a fucking fan, bro. 6 songs. 6 songs?
5 songs. We have an intro track, which is just for like ambience, but it's like really 5 songs.
Was there, I always have to have this conversation because, especially with the day and age that we live in, the social media era and, the attention span that fans have. There's always that conversation about, should we do some singles? Should we release a record? Blah, blah, blah. I've worked with bands where like, oh, we're going to release a single, every 6 weeks. And then, we'll compile it at the end of the year for an EP. And then there's bands who are like, we'll release like a full-length record, 10 songs. And then guys like you said, we're going to put 6 songs out. What was the conversation there?
So I know me and Manny have gone back and forth on this. He really believes that like singles are the way to go, and I can see where he's coming from. There are benefits.
Manny says that.
Yeah, and
he got outvoted.
I'm very much in the realm of I believe that us, because like we're gonna do another EP after obviously this one that's been released, and then we're gonna do a record. So we kind of continue to build our catalog, but I think in the long run, doing an EP allows us times to be able to, share this EP, this record,
For
save
sure.
up money and be able to put better time and effort into releasing another EP rather than kind of like trying to drill out single after single.
For sure.
And like giving it as much love that I feel like we could.
Yeah. You definitely have to give this record its due.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the realm of
dude, it's
EPs.
only been out a month, over a month, maybe almost 2 months now. Yeah,
Little
you
over
gotta
a month
give it
now.
its due. Let it fucking marinate with the people. Hopefully, tonight after this interview, people are gonna go out there and listen to it. And you guys know, Rob's, we're from San Antonio, but so many people around the world watch our show now from many different countries. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's great. And I want them to listen to your music. But I love all the songs. All the songs are good.
I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah, all the songs are kind of cool. I love them all. So I said this earlier. I love how great this record sounds too. And we were having conversations downstairs about engineering and producing and stuff like that. So why does this record sound so good?
Because of Kobe.
Yeah, Kobe.
Because of our main man, Kobe.
Kobe, goddamn it.
Knows what the fuck he's doing.
Dude.
He really understands, and because like when we talked to him about like, oh, well, this part could be a little louder. Like, hey, let's add like we need some ambiance here. Like we need some like new sound effect in this bit. Always.
Jericho, you tell him.
Always has something to make.
Make my vocals louder in the mix.
He's really quick
Is that what
with
you're
it.
saying, Jericho?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I bet.
He's really quick with it too. Like anytime we need something, he just knows how to do it. You know, he just instantly.
He has that technical skill.
Yeah, the technical skill and the creative skill that goes along with it. It
Beautiful.
takes the record and the sound a long way.
Yeah. That's an amazing thing to have in your band. You know, in some bands you have the dudes who are like the video producers and they know how to do shit. And yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Graphic designers and shit. You know. Yeah, you guys are like multifaceted. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, Jericho as well. I'm very happy that we have an audio engineer, a graphic designer, a video editor, and then an illustrator in the band too.
Wow. And then
So-
Josh, the pretty face. Josh is a good-looking guy in the band.
I'll say this: Josh is really great with ideas, and he has a lot to like offer. Even if it's not like technical, like oh I can do graphic design, I can do this, I can do that. Josh is just like that voice that we need whenever we
Jericho,
have the voice that's missing.
Jericho, you're kind of sexy too, because Julie wanted me to ask you about the fishnet. Thing.
Okay, so I'll give you the down low on this. So I had a whole outfit planned out that we actually want to implement with our image.
Yeah.
All the shit that I ordered did not come in time. So I was at home. I was at home with my fiance, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck to wear. He was like, hoe it up, and I was like, what do you mean? The fish.
Hoe it up.
Yeah, the
Hoe
fish.
it up for the hose.
The fishnets I wore were his. They were not mine. He's a lot smaller than me, so it did not fit properly. It was like super tight, but like. He got the fucking crowd going to take off the fucking like the baseball tee I was wearing, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
You were never gonna take that off.
No, I was gonna wait a little bit longer because I ended up singing like songs of contrition with that, and I'm like,
it was something like it was just freeballing it. I really don't get it. You just said you had no plan, but it was gonna come off eventually.
Yeah, it was gonna come off eventually.
I didn't think you were gonna fucking get them to tell me take it off. So I stood there with my hoey little hips out and my fishnets, and I was like, I'm a little pudgy.
Was like, oof.
That's what kept the crowd there.
Exactly.
I was upset because I kept having to pull my fucking pants. I was like, y'all are gonna see a little too much. I'm like, God, I should have wore a belt for Christ's sakes.
One of a kind night. And I got it all on tape. For some of you who haven't seen it, look for it on YouTube and our Facebook. You can see these guys throwing down.
Yeah, you'll see me thonged up, throwing ass.
The EP itself has gotten a lot of streams, over 10,000 streams. So, are you content with the reception that this record's gotten? I mean, obviously, there were some old fans of Mourning Sun. And how did those kind of old fans or the new fans kind of feel about this new direction?
Here, I'm going to lean into you so we can both talk about this. So I feel like with a lot of the old fans, they were also pining for the old EP, but we've gotten a lot of good reception about the new sound. I haven't heard a lot of negative stuff other than people being like, oh, these guys really want to be Polaris, or like relating us to other bands.
Polaris is.
They're an amazing
Rick
metalcore
says
band
good.
out of Australia. They're fucking awesome. They're one of my favorite fucking bands. But yeah, we got a lot of good reception from it. Obviously, we always hope for a better reception than what we receive because we want this record to do as good and amazing as possible.
Right.
But it was very satisfying to see this even like hit those like, what is it? Those 5-digit numbers.
And are you able to track where those streams are coming from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are they coming from? Where can you say?
So
All over Texas, all over the world.
All over the world.
Well, we've had some come from Germany. We've had some come from Belgium.
The UK,
the UK.
the UK, Australia,
South
Texas,
America.
Louisiana, Missouri,
everywhere.
Michigan, New York,
Seattle.
We've had
Seattle. Yeah, we actually had a lot of reception from Seattle, but I'm from California now that I think about it, which is a little heartbreaking, but I get it. It's a little different out there.
also like we've had people from Germany just being like, "We've heard your record.
Yeah.
We love it. We want more." And all
We've
that
had a couple
stuff.
producers out of Germany message us and ask us if we wanted to work with them or if we ever wanted any
Nice.
feedback. They were like, "Yeah, just shoot us a message. Just send us your
Nice.
demos. We'll totally let you know."
Nice. Yeah, man. That's the great thing about the age that we live in, you know. And, you know, even for programs like mine, you know, we have people from all over watching and learning about Texas metal. Yeah. So, as I mentioned earlier, I was at the release show. And I think I saw a post where somebody said this was the best show we've ever done.
Yes.
Oh,
Who's-
forever for now.
Yeah, it was forever for now. Their mosh pit was pretty huge.
Yeah.
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 Love those dudes. I love Jared Robles. I fucking love that dude. He is such a. You called me sexy. He is a heartthrob, and he is such a sweet dude.
I think I missed them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I miss them. Because, you know,
You missed out.
Yeah,
They're
dude.
good.
I
They're
was-
so good.
I was going
love
across
their
the
stuff.
street and having some drinkies. And then I was coming back for who I wanted to see. But
Hey, what's going on now?
but when I saw your show, I was happy to see that you guys played some of the old songs.
Yeah, that was the first time
How-
we brought back
Yeah.
Where It Hurts the Most. And we actually tried to bring it back for a couple of shows before, but it just kind of, we weren't happy with where it was as practice went. So, like, we finally got to really let it out on this one. And it's one of my favorite tracks off of Therapy Sessions. I love that
Which
song. Where It Hurts the Most. One of my
Oh.
favorite songs. I love how fucking melodic it is. And I love
Y'all
how it
did
just-
ship set to sell pretty good, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my track. So when y'all started coming down with that riff, I was like, oh, hell yeah.
Here it fucking comes.
Fuck yeah. I was like, and the fans were loving it, too.
Yeah, we had amazing crowd reaction to the song. It's kind of surreal too because they're just screaming the chorus back at you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's amazing. Even though the EP when it debuted, it did okay. As a local release, we were young, so we didn't have
Sure.
money to push it or the means to distribute it as much as we wanted to. But the fact that the crowd knew the lyrics and it meant everything.
Dude, and as the original member, Emmanuel, I mean, I can only imagine how gratifying that is for you. Right? How gratifying that must be for you.
Yeah, and
That after many years that these fans still know that song and they jam it.
yeah, and it being a riff that I wrote in middle school. I wrote
That's
the
killer.
riff. Wrote the riff in middle school. Eventually came out to a song. You know, it's crazy. It's
Killer.
Yeah.
Keep them in the repertoire, guys. I think it's important. I mean, especially since you kept the name to honor the legacy of this band. You know, what lies ahead for 2023 as far as shows or anything like that?
So actually, we are going out to, as of today, we're going out to Houston on March 25th to play Acadia Bar for Texas Metalcore Fest with Light Ghost and Indigo. I think Ventura is one of the other bands, and Lights and Apparitions. We got approached by one of the guys who promoted the show, actually from Josh commenting on one of their posts, and he offered us one of like the, you know, like we're up there with like Light Ghost and Indigo. We came in late into the game. We're like, oh hell yeah, that'd be awesome. We got that on March 25th next week. We have April 28th at the Rock Box.
Oh yeah, I heard about that show.
I'm booking that show with Blakey and Jen at the moment. We have. I guess I can say because it's gonna come out. The show will already be announced probably by the time this episode gets dropped. We have Left 4 Dead on the bill, Grieved, the comeback of Don't Feed the Birds, and Voltreus on the show. We have a couple more we're adding, but we haven't solidified with anybody yet.
Somebody was just talking about. Somebody sent me a message about Left 4 Dead recently.
Yeah, they just played last night at Homie Fest. They're amazing.
Yeah.
And then we also have July 28th at the Bonds Bar that we booked a few months ago. I haven't got like all the details on it yet, but we're locked in for that. And June 3rd at the Mix with oh my god, I feel bad. It's a touring band that asked us to hop on. They're like
Sure.
a punk band,
Sure.
but we have our date booked with them as well.
How important is it for you guys to play outside of San Antonio? Because I meet a lot of bands, and some bands are content with their following in San Antonio, and they don't want to expand their audience space in the region. Obviously, to go to Houston, to Dallas, to the Valley, it costs money and time and effort to kind of do those things. You have to sacrifice a little bit. And again, some bands aren't willing to do that. So how important is that for you?
I personally believe it's super, super important to expand as much as possible. I think that the farther you can go to have somebody hear you, then from there they'll say, oh, I just saw this band recently.
For sure.
They're from out of town.
For sure.
Next time they come into town, we should go see them. And then they'll try and bring a crowd when we come back. It's kind of just like, it's better not to have our eggs in one basket. As much as we love, San Antonio, we also want to grow and be like the band that came out from San Antonio as well.
And on top of that, I mean, like, as far as our plan with this year, even as the year began, we were like, okay, yeah, we're going to play an out-of-town show every month, no matter, like, where it is, if we can get an out-of-town
That was
show.
the quota.
Yeah. Out-of-town
At
show
least
every month.
one out of town.
Because, actually, it's funny you mentioned the Valley. We're actually looking to book in the Valley later this year, and we're trying to look to book a show in Austin. Yes. I've never booked a show in Austin. I don't know who to talk to, so I'm trying to reach around and find that out.
Yeah, we played a couple times in Austin.
Before me.
Yeah.
Before me.
So it doesn't count.
Yeah, it don't matter. No, but yeah, we think it's very important for us to play out of town because we want to spread ourselves, and we want to go out and meet as many people as we can, share music with everybody, and share in their lives as they may with us.
For sure. Yeah, it's important. And if you can do it, and do it. I know that, again, it's hard. It's challenging to do those kinds of things. But, I think there comes a point in every band's career where they reach a pinnacle where it's like, we're going to be a San Antonio band only, or we are going to go beyond San Antonio.
No, yeah, we're gunning for like to
beyond.
Be, yeah, we're gunning at the next of like bands
Beyond.
like Bad Omens and Spirit Box. Let me not say at their next, but we're wanting to meet up with them.
We want to be like the next generation, and we don't want to just stay a local band. As nice as it is to have the community here, and
that's what I'm talking about.
We would love to go beyond just a local band. Just we're a band from San Antonio. We want to be like a bigger band that represents not just San Antonio but Texas as well.
Exactly. That's the next step.
Perfectly said.
We're a Texas band.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we play everywhere. I saw the video for Spineless. Really cool fucking video. Tell us a little bit about the video. First of all, why did you guys choose Spineless as the video single?
So I think it was the last song to get added on the EP, and we wrote it within, I don't know why you're being so quiet. They can't hear that, dude. But courteous, thank you.
He's trying to hide the fact that he's drank about 5 of those. Go for it, Colby. Go. You're at the MetalWorks, baby. That's how we roll.
So it was the last song to get added to our EP, and it was
Look
honestly the one that took the shortest amount of time to write. We wrote that song within 2 or 3 weeks.
Sometimes those are the best fucking songs.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
And,
it's like look at Nirvana. Fucking easy riff, fucking, as long as it's hooky and catchy, fuck yeah. And that song's brutal. I love it. It's so heavy. I think, is that the heaviest song on the record?
Yes, absolutely.
Fuck yeah. I thought, I was like, man, this song's fucking heavy.
It was the last one to get added, and I pioneered for it. I was like, I already have an idea for this video. Let's shoot this one. I'm like, please, for the love of God, let us do this music video because we need a music video. So everyone's like, okay. So that whole music video was actually shot in my garage.
Wow.
I put up, those drop paper that you use for
Who did the
painting.
video?
Fernando Viegas. Fernando Viegas.
He's just a video guy.
Yeah, he's a
I've heard
photographer.
his name before.
Crossways did Crossways music video.
Got it. Sometimes I get confused because when I hear the word Fernie, I think about Fernando Limas, then I think about Fernie from Bolshreos. There's so many Fernies out there. Okay, yeah.
I cannot advocate for him enough. He is such a sweet and honest and hardworking dude. He cares about the artists he works
For
with,
sure.
and he cares about the product he puts out.
Of course, it's a reflection of him.
I love that guy. I love that guy to death. I will
Is he a
advocate
young
for
cat?
him
Is
to
he a young
anybody.
cat?
He's in his like late 20s.
Okay, he's a young
late
cat.
20s, but he
For me,
he just got
he's-
engaged, doing great with himself. I'm really happy for him. But
And he shot that video in your garage.
he shot it, and then me and Manny did the editing for the music video.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, we were shooting that music video.
The
like,
editing's the
all
hard
night.
part.
It was fun,
In my opinion.
Well, I don't think it was as fun for you.
Yeah, definitely. It took a while, just the headache of editing of the video.
Editing's so hard and time
Yeah.
consuming
Yeah.
and mind fucking ripping.
And then getting critiques from the band as well, like, you should change this. This doesn't go well here. We should add effects here. You know, it's stupid, but you know, we made it work, and I'm happy with the final outcome.
The video came out on February 8th, and in a little over a month's time, 15,000 views.
16.
Wow.
Sorry. Hey, that
I
1,000
love
matters.
being corrected by you,
That is-
Jericho.
that's 1,000 people that I love
That's
and care
1,000 more people, Rob. Yeah, that's significant, bro. So by all means, correct me. That's a lot of views.
Oh yeah,
That's a lot of fucking views.
and that's straight out of just promoting. So we went with High Road Publicity to help us, like, you know, kind of promote this.
I was
stuff.
gonna ask you about them, but
That
we'll
was
get there.
straight out of our YouTube channel. We didn't go with like Dreambound or anything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
We just posted it on our YouTube
On
channel.
your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like some bands will be like, oh, we want to release our video on, you know, this.
We went with
Mediums.
Dreambound, Space
Yeah, yeah.
Unravel, BXT.
Yeah. Do they have to pay for that? Yeah. Ah, see, I didn't know.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes the if you just submit your stuff and they like it enough, they'll just take it. They'll be like, "Oh fuck yeah, we
okay.
want to post this."
But most of the time they'll charge.
Sometimes it's
Sometimes they'll
dependent.
charge.
It's really dependent, and the charges vary because sometimes it can be 200, sometimes it can be 100.
Oh God. Well, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
If you want to premiere your next video on Rob's Metalworks, let's do it. I'll do it for free. Seriously, I'm a fan.
Fuck yeah, more
I'm a
promotion.
fan.
All the promotion we can get.
Guys, as we get near the end of this interview, just a couple of more things. And Jericho, you kind of mentioned it just right now. I was going to ask you about High Road Publicity.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys kind of really working with them? Are they kind of like pubbing the band through their network, or was it just a video?
So we went with them for the whole entire EP release. So
Great.
We went with them for the release for the music video and for the EP. So they got us some track by tracks on some websites that were promoting our music video.
Great.
They got us on a lot of good playlists. Like we were on the Sharp Tone playlist and a Sumerian playlist and a bunch of other ones. A few reviews for people who reviewed our EP had very, very kind things to say, and I really appreciate that. People seem to have enjoyed it. Makes us very happy. So like we're happy with going and working with them, because as far as promotion goes, we're kind of like in the dark. We know like what to do at the base level, but to work with somebody, work with a company who really, you know,
Is networked.
Yeah, is
that's the
professional in it.
thing that you pay for when you work with a publicist, is the network.
Yeah.
And these guys are networked all over the country with shows like Rob's and publications, and even across the pond in Europe.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
I recommend High Road to any artist that wants.
How
to
did you get connected with them? Like, how did you hear about them?
Our manager, actually. Our manager is Joel Spielman. He was recommending. He was like, "So y'all should go with a publicist for the release.
For sure.
Y'all should go with High Road. This is who I recommend." I know. Actually, I was talking with one of the guys.
Where
from
are they
Left 4
based
Dead.
out of? Do you know?
Oh fuck! I actually don't know. I think LA. I think it's California.
Yeah. I work with dozens of publicists, and most of them are from LA, Jersey, or Chicago, and New York.
I was also going to say I have previous experience working with High Road before. I worked with Jesse Lee with my old band Finding, and we really loved the work they gave for us.
Sure.
And like even after the band themselves, like we weren't a thing anymore, we still would get, you know, random articles out of nowhere, and so we kind of just, or at least I took that as it's worth it
For
no
sure.
matter what, because it's still got traction even after it's done doing its thing.
For sure.
And I'm really happy we did go with them.
And that is the job of the publicist, to get
Absolutely.
you pub. Yeah, I mean, that's the fucking job. You know, I can't tell you, you know, how many times a day I get hit up with stuff. And, you know, lastly, guys, as we end out, we have to talk about the San Antonio scene a little bit. You know,
I would love to.
Let's talk about the
love
San
our
Antonio scene, and I really want to get your take, because you guys are out there grinding. You're the owners of the clubs, the promoters in the scene, the bands that you've played with, and I just want to get your take on it. How do you kind of feel? We talk about I talk a lot too about the reverence of the San Antonio scene, and our long, rich history, but I know that at times too it can be challenging. So as a band that's kind of in the thick of it, like how do you feel?
I feel like, I guess specifically our scene, because we're kind of in the more metalcore scene. It's definitely something that isn't the most thriving, and I say that loosely, very loosely, because obviously after COVID, and with how just life goes for everybody,
Things are still recovering and such.
things are still recovering. Yeah, and
You really feel that? I thought we were past that. No?
A little bit.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I'm asking you.
a little bit. I feel like for especially like the younger audience, it's always a matter of like, if we can afford it, because you go out to these places and you want to come out and support, but you want to also drink, you want to do everything, and then parking, you got to pay for parking, but that's all that. Yeah, that's all a matter of
That's
it.
how they're making their money, right?
But the people who do come out, it's a very dedicated and supportive scene. For everyone who does come out, they are so supportive, and it can only grow larger as it gets better. Because honestly, there are a lot of these artists that are being slept on that a lot of people don't know. And I feel like, as far as the local scene goes, there's always those artists that are slept on. Like even like large artists now, like My Chemical Romance, and like any massive artist you could think of now. Everyone started as a local band, and they were always at that market where they were playing in front of no one, 20, 30 people, and obviously they grow to play in front of these stadiums. But we have so many artists here that are so hardworking and dedicated and garner these really loving and dedicated audiences that make all these shows so much worth it, whether it is 5 people or it is 50 to 100. No matter what, whoever can make it out, it's always appreciated and supportive.
That being said, we also like the scene itself of the bands that are doing really well. For example, like Scum or Voltreus. Like it almost feels like there's a bit of a renaissance in the scene itself.
For sure.
It's really cool because
I would agree with that. It's
Yeah.
well said.
Like I had said, I was out of the scene for a while, maybe about 2 years, until I finally got back in and was starting to be involved again. And it was a completely different thing that was happening. Bands that I remember just kind of existing, starting to actually be a lot more popular, or bands that I remember being super, super big back when I was in the scene, just gone. And it's very interesting. It was something I had to kind of catch my bearings at first, but I definitely feel a definite shift from where it was before. I think even though COVID kind of pulled things back a lot, it almost reset the clock for the scene and kind of breathe a new life into it.
That's great. That's great. Well said.
It's funny that you bring up Renaissance, because that was the exact term. Jaime came over from Crossways 3000. He had come over to my house. We were talking about the scene in general, and I'm saying, dude, there's going to be a renaissance happening in the scene of new bands or bands blowing up. And I think Scum and Voltreus are a good example of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like I kind of went off on the wrong road. Yeah, and life cycles. I think I went off on the wrong road on it. As far as like the local bands go, they're exactly Scum and Voltreus, and other bands like Left 4 Dead and Danilla Drive.
Yeah, Danilla,
and
for sure.
Sloth. Like there are so many amazing artists that we have in this scene right now that are just
I love it.
so
I love
overlooked
it.
sometimes.
Like I'm an old dude, but I've been following the local scene for a couple decades now, and when I run across bands like Scum and Voltreus, and I'm like, man, and what you guys are still doing, I'm like, man, these guys are like continuing to breathe life into our scene.
Absolutely.
And it's a beautiful thing. I feel so gratified because it keeps me busy. I'm like, man, these are bands I want to interview. Yeah, so it keeps me motivated to continue to do the work I do, because I want to talk to these wonderful bands who are keeping our scene alive, and Crossways 3000, man, those dudes are great. And, it's a little challenging because sometimes, a things not only and things not only just like the artistry, which was what we're focusing right now on, the artistry.
Yeah.
You know, great bands, but also what I wanted to also talk about is like, what about like the fucking, you know, ability to book a show, or the promoters or the club owners, like how challenging has that become?
For us, I guess because I usually book our shows.
Jericho, that's because everybody loves you, dude.
I don't know.
Everybody loves Jericho. Like, oh yeah, we'll give you a show, bro.
I don't know about all that, but it's it definitely is just talking to the right people. I usually try to reach out to as many like varied artists I can whenever I do book a show.
Yeah.
Like if I'm booking a show, like I want to get like bands like Perfect Season and Sloth, but also get bands like Imbalance and Crossways and Grieved.
Sure, there you go.
I want it to be like a mixed set, because the one thing I feel people always get like I guess tired of in the ears of is like hearing a lot of the bands that are, you know, the same subset genre.
Sure.
It kind of just you get tired, not necessarily you don't care, but it's it just goes. So I feel like, you know, obviously coming in with sets and like all these different artists whenever they are able to come together or want to come together of all these different genres makes for a really fun and interesting show.
Yeah, for sure.
But I feel like for artists, as far as booking goes and talking to venue promoters, especially for bands like Scum or Voltreus or Left 4 Dead, all they got to do is ask, like, hey, we want a show. And they're like, okay, who do you want to play?
Yeah.
Go get who you want to play.
Yeah.
Just let us know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think too, and I'm sorry, Emmanuel, but I think too, like, when bands start getting a little momentum, right, and they get a little momentum, they're doing good, like Voltreus and Scum, it's like, you know, promoters could easily take advantage of that and say, hey, you know, come play, you know, you're very hot right now, you're trending right now, whatever. But I think when you think about a band that's hot like Danella, and I've had this conversation with the brothers, and I said, look, there comes a point where, again, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, marketing, where you have to position yourself. It's like, we're not an opening band anymore. You know, stop taking whatever the promoters are going to give you. I was like, oh, you want to open this show? I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. We're not booked that night. Yeah, we'll open up the show. But there comes a point where it's like, you know, we're not an opening band anymore.
Yeah.
And you have to position yourselves at that level. And, you know, I'll say this on camera. In the early days of Rob's MetalWorks, in the early days, before social media, I used to tell people, we are the premier metal show. We are this, we are that. And if you do that long enough, people start to believe it.
Yeah. That's what everyone hears.
You believe it. I should be direct support for this band, not fucking opening up the gig.
Yeah.
That's who we are now. And so the promoter needs to understand that and say, hey, we are not openers anymore.
I will say this, with working with the promoters I have, they do have a very good understanding of what bands are not openers. Because I set times for shows a few times, and they're like, this band's not going here. They're not an opener. They're not this time. They need to go at this time. Like these bands on this bill do not play before this time. They are not openers. They are late night. They are either closers. Or they are headline.
Sure.
They are prime event. So
Sure.
I know promoters do take notice at what bands are the ones who pull and who are the prime time and who are not openers anymore.
Sure.
Which is nice to know that some promoters do that. Other promoters are just like, do it however you want.
Yeah,
they're like, do it however you want.
Yeah, they're oblivious. And those are that's the thing though. And those are promoters who are in tune with the scene, who care about the scene, who care about the bands, who care about the musicians. And then there's those promoters who are just in it for the fucking buck, right? Yeah. So be mindful of that, guys, as you continue on in your careers. And we can talk more about that off camera. As we end out, gentlemen, I want to give every single one of you an opportunity to say thank you or show love or or anything, gratitude to people, companies, businesses, fans, whatever, out in the scene. So let's start with Colby over here, and we'll go like this. Go for it, Colby.
Well, I appreciate everybody and their kind words on our record. I really am happy that people like something we've made. It's just really trippy and surreal, not only to hear people singing what we've sung or singing something we wrote, but just enjoying it and liking it for what it is. It's raw and it's us, and I'm really happy to be here. I'm really happy to talk about it, and I love talking about this stuff. It's my passion. It's our passion, and yeah, just happy to be here.
I'm disappointed you didn't wear a Hawaiian shirt tonight.
Hawaii shirt.
I lost $20.
I just would like to shout out Crossways 3000. They're geniuses in the scene, and I personally look up to them as musicians, as people, and as a powerhouse in the scene. I take a lot of inspiration from them personally.
Nice.
Into the marketing or when it comes to just how their image, their music. I take so much inspiration from them.
I love Jaime and I love Daniel. You know, and I especially love Daniel because he was sitting right here a few weeks ago. And I was telling him, like, damn, you're like a big fucking dude, man. But you go up there and you throw down. You don't give a fuck. He's like, Rob, I know, you know.
Legs up and shit.
God damn, he's a big dude. He's like big like my son, like really big. And I'm like, dude, you don't give a fuck. You know, you're just doing it, man. You know, you're putting yourself out there, and you gotta respect that.
I love Daniel. He's
a fucking one of a kind, and that's awesome. Cool, man. Thanks for sharing that.
Real quick, I'd like to thank my family. They've always been super supportive, and they always help me out with every single thing that I've ever asked for.
That's cool, man.
Business, because I treat music like a business. They are very supportive of that, and they're able to give me tips that have helped us out a lot. I'm also very thankful for Voltreus, especially Tyler. I've known him for years, and he's always been super encouraging and always kind of been there for me. You know, just like real tight with him. And then, of course, like Kobe was saying, thank you to everyone who's just taking the time to view our stuff, view the video, listen to the songs. You know, it's really weird. Something I don't exactly remember where I heard it, but a quote I remember is, "It's really hard to gauge the how good a record is, especially how long you've been working on it personally. So you never get that first listen, but I get to hear people's reactions, and they'll tell us, wow, this is really good. Like, I can't believe that you wrote this, or it's really insane that you guys just wrote this and are, you know." It's really nice to hear, and I'm super, super appreciative of everyone that has thanked us or given us a compliment.
That's so cool that you thank a peer, because and when I think about a peer, like what you just said, like Tyler, you know, people like Tyler who are very talented could be fucking assholes. Like, I'm fucking a badass. He knows he's a badass, but beautiful people like him, you know, when you guys will learn this as you get older. Beautiful people in this world, the way that you know that they're beautiful is that they want to see you succeed too. Mm-hmm. Successful people want to see you succeed too. They want you to be successful. They're trying to help you. That's a beautiful person. And Tyler's a beautiful person.
It's funny you say that, because I remember back with my old band, when I had first met Tyler years and years ago, he would always be like, "Josh, you're a really good player. Like, you need to kind of be a dick about it. You need to stop being so humble." And I'm like, I mean, I don't know. But he really encouraged me to just kind of own up to my playing and just accept that I'm where I'm at and that I could always be better, but I should be comfortable with where I'm at. And I'm super appreciative of that.
Sorry, not sorry. I think I have a long laundry list, because I love the entirety of the San Antonio scene, especially all the bands. Crossways 3000, Voltreus, Scum, Left for Dead, Sloth, Danella Drive, Imbalance, Grieved. Fucking, oh my god. There are so many that I just want to show love to, because this scene would be nothing without bands like them. Thanks to my dad for fucking getting me into fucking music.
Yeah.
He's not with us anymore, but I know he would be pumping shit like
He's
this.
still here. He's around.
Yeah. He would be pumping videos like this to all of his friends. Thanks to my mom for being so fucking supportive. Thank you to everybody who has listened or streamed or shared or even just looked at our EP cover or just looked at us while we were on stage. Like, it means so much to have any support at all, let alone to have people really enjoy our music. And I want to thank every single one of these guys in the band for putting all that they do in.
For sure.
For being as dedicated as they are and caring about the craft and really wanting to work together to make this the best thing it can be for all of us and to make this project the highest it can be.
For sure. And
thank you to you for having us.
Oh,
especially.
okay.
You were like, all right.
Yeah.
Nobody
don't
said
forget Rob.
thank you to me. Thank you for your years of support and total like sincerity.
For sure.
Like, really appreciate.
I mean,
that.
you have my support because I'm a fan of the art that you guys are doing. I mean, you know, I really, really dig it and love it, and I want to talk about it. I want to know you guys. I want to hang out with you guys, and you know, so you don't have to thank me, man. The art speaks for itself, and I love you know, jamming out to the best that our city has to offer, and you guys are among the best. So
thank you.
Thank you so much for coming over tonight, everybody.
Of course.
Thank you so much. All the love. You know, I hope you guys had a good time tonight with me.
Every time.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll do it again in the future as you continue to progress. Because I want to see more great things from Mourning Sun. And I know you guys can put it together. And I know Emmanuel will keep me in the loop too. So here's to 2023 and beyond with you guys. Remember, everybody out there, the brand new record from Mourning Sun is called Second Skin. It is out there right now. So be sure to go to your favorite music media outlet and download it and jam it, man, like I've been jamming it these past year, man. I love this record. You saw Mourning Sun only right here on Rob's MetalWorks.